It's been a few weeks since we talked about some of the new interesting horror games that you guys should give a try or keep on your wish list until you find time for them. However, when I started doing some research a few days ago, I realized that I'm missing a bunch of good horror games that definitely deserve to be talked about and brought to light. The games I'm going to showcase are diverse, and they include psychological and survival elements aside from a range of different types of graphics and visual styles. I also need to mention that the spot in today's video was actually supposed to be for Lucas's interesting video, where he talks thoroughly about the real stories from real life that inspired some of the scariest games on the planet, but unfortunately, the video needs some tweaks and will probably be posted tomorrow, so make sure to watch it. Anyway, let's not waste any more time on the intro, and let's just start the countdown. Parasocial is another installment from Chilla's art series, and you probably already know that it's terrifying because this series rarely disappoints. It's a psychological horror game about a live streamer named Senra Nina, who is a popular YouTuber who streams herself playing video games and chatting with her fans. However, one day, Nina receives a mysterious gift from a fan, and this gift is a game that they want her to play, but apparently it's not as normal as it might seem in the beginning. Anyway, Nina decides to play the game on stream, but she soon realizes that something is wrong because somehow the game seems to be aware of her, and it begins to manipulate her and control the comments in the chat. Your mission as a player is to help Nina find a way to stop the game before it's too late and things get completely out of hand, and also find out who's stalking her. The story of Parasocial explores the dark side of online fandom and the dangers of parasocial relationships. And in case you don't know what parasocial relationships mean, they are simply one-sided relationships that people form with celebrities or other public figures, which can sometimes be very obsessive and harmful. Anyway, the game is scary and worth checking out for those of you who want to lose their minds a little bit. The one and only is back, and it looks better than ever, and you should prepare your strong eyes to finish the objective as fast as possible before the ghosts and monsters catch the heck out of you. I'm on observation duty. 6 is set in multiple unique locations where the residents or passengers are going missing. Strange anomalies are occurring all over the place, and no one knows what the hell is happening. You take on the role of a security guard who is tasked with monitoring the building's surveillance cameras and reporting any anomalies to their superiors. However, as you continue to monitor the cameras, you notice that something is not right, and the anomalies become more and more disturbing, and you begin to suspect that there is something supernatural at play. You must use your sharp eyes and good memory to spot the differences in the surveillance camera footage and report any anomalies as fast as you can. But you must also be careful not to go too crazy, as the game is full of jump scares that can make your heart skip a few beats. Even though the concept might seem very simple, trust me when I say that this game is really terrifying when you put on your headset and play it for yourself. I featured this game a few weeks ago when I talked about some of the best upcoming third-person horror games, and I honestly thought that it's a long shot, but I was surprised last week that it's already been released, and it's actually as good as I was expecting it. In this co-op, isometric, open-world survival game, you'll find yourself in a world ended by a zombie outbreak, and as one of the few human survivors, you must try to last as long as possible and make a difference for the future of humanity. Within an expansive and perilous open world, you have the opportunity to venture forth, scouring for essential resources and fellow survivors, and you also have to craft an array of weaponry, tools, and structures that provide you with the means to ensure your survival. Furthermore, establishing your own fortified bases and settlements allows you to create secure sanctuaries that protect you from encroaching zombie threats, which is honestly one of the coolest aspects of the experience. Anyway, long story short, this game is absolutely perfect for anyone who wants to live in a zombie apocalypse from a different perspective and also gets the chance to do it with friends as well.
Over here! Hey! No!
This is another game that was mentioned before on our channel, and I also thought that it was going to slip to 2024 before we could play it. But obviously I was wrong again, and the game is already here. The events are set in 2 locations, including the trenches of World War I and the crumbling mansion of your family home, and you play as a German soldier who is haunted by the horrors of war and the secrets of his past. The game begins at a decoding base situated right on the front lines, where the protagonist receives the command to launch an attack against the French positions. However, somehow a little bit later, he finds himself waking up in his family's mansion, which has been abandoned for years, and he doesn't even remember what happened to it. But the crazy part is that this German soldier soon discovers that he is trapped in a loop, reliving the same events over and over again in a nightmarish cycle that you need to break so you can set the soldier free. You must unravel the mystery of the loop and find a way to escape it, all while confronting the demons in your mind, but be careful. As you explore the mansion and the trenches, you encounter a variety of strange creatures, including twisted soldiers, ghostly figures, and otherworldly beings that are connected to the soldiers' deep fears. So if you're interested in a game that blends history with psychological horror, then this is obviously a game to consider. This game came out about a month ago, and it's quietly taking the gaming universe by storm, which is really surprising to me because I wasn't even paying attention to it before, and I didn't even bother to mention it in a video previously. The game is set in a vast and ever-changing hedge maze known as the Happisburg Maze, where you and your partners assume the role of investigators who must explore the maze, solve puzzles, and defeat monsters in order to uncover the creepy mysteries that lie within. There are actually 2 gameplay modes here, which include a story mode where players follow the enigmatic journey of a mysterious fairground worker called Joanne, as they unravel the chilling history of the maze and confront hair-raising challenges as a team. And there's also the case files, where players delve into procedurally generated mazes that offer unlimited experiences with increasing levels of difficulty. Every investigation uncovers fresh horrors, demanding that you adjust and strategize alongside your fellow players in order to survive, or at least don't be a burden on your friend's back. The game so far has received extremely good reviews from players on Steam, and I think it's worth checking out if you enjoy this type of adventure and challenge.
Well, ain't no dead end here.
This is a game that I've been keeping an eye on for around a year, and to be honest, it keeps getting more and more interesting, and the developer is obviously cooking something amazing for us. It's a narrative-focused survival horror experience that takes you into a chilling world of psychological and cosmic terror in the isolated Clover Hill apartment complex, where residents vanish without a trace, blood stains the walls, and anguish cries resonate through the eerie corridors. However, the protagonist, David himself, is not in good shape either because he's also haunted by the memory of his wife's inexplicable disappearance during a shipwreck just months prior, and he's determined to uncover the truth. The game's release date is not available yet, but I was lucky to get my hands on an exclusive demo that was sent to us by the developer, and the good news is that it will be available for you guys on September 23rd. My experience so far with the game is actually positive, and I feel that it's a combination of games like Outlast and Amnesia with impressive visuals too. So you really need to get your hands on the demo to see for yourself if it's going to be worth it or if I'm making the wrong judgment. We obviously need a VHS game on the list to make things even more dark and spooky, and I think this game does exactly what's necessary to provide us with that type of experience. Paranormal VHS plunges you into a spine-tingling world of supernatural horrors, taking inspiration from the enticing concept of VHS tapes to immerse you even more in the enigmatic environment around you. In this gripping psychological journey, you assume the role of James, a fearless vlogger known for his channel called Paranormal VHS, as he decides to embark on a perilous mission, spending nights in forsaken and gruesome locations where the echoes of dreadful events still resonate. Which basically means that he's one of those crazy YouTubers who wants views and attention at any cost. Armed with nothing but a trusty VHS camera, he sets out to capture evidence of paranormal activity that defies explanation, but as usual, this type of journey doesn't come without cost, and James will face some crazy jump scares that can make him realize that he's an idiot for acting like a tough guy. So if this is something that meets your gaming standards, then keep in mind that this game is already available and you can try it today.
Is that her phone? Miranda?
Paul? Are you there?
I felt like the lights were trying to tell me something, but I wasn't sure if it was good or bad. Okay, a mushroom with an eye.
This is a very interesting game that unfortunately didn't receive the attention it deserves in my opinion, even though it's actually different than the games that look similar. Lempo is inspired by Finnish mythology, and here you play as Paul, an ordinary guy who finds himself lost in a dense forest after a day of work. However, as he navigates through this wooded expanse, he realizes that the forest harbors some horrifying secrets that he wasn't meant to know about, and he is also ensnared within a nightmarish realm where the real world and the supernatural become muddled in a way that makes him believe he's hallucinating. To break free from this otherworldly nightmare, Paul must start a journey of exploration, solving complicated brain teasers along the way, but his path is also fraught with encounters with an array of eerie and dreadful entities, including ghosts, witches, and creatures steeped in Finnish folklore. So Lempo is basically a tale of confronting inner demons and contending with personal fears that hide inside us all the time. Anyway, if you want to help Paul escape this mental torment and reclaim his normal life, then you should definitely check this game out.
There is this one thing I must do before I can recover the Ember. Leon and that young woman, they're both infected.
Okay. But this is your last chance.
I literally added this game to the list in the last second after a few hours of its release because I thought that it would definitely be weird to talk about the good new horror games without mentioning something related to Resident Evil. Separate Ways DLC is a short expansion for the Resident Evil 4 remake, and it's basically a retelling of the events of the original game from the perspective of Ada Wong, a spy sent to retrieve a sample of the Las Plagas parasite. The DLC features several new areas and gameplay elements such as Ada's grappling hook, which she can use to traverse the environment and attack enemies, but it also includes new boss fights and sequences that reveal more about the backstory and motivations of this mysterious woman. Anyway, I still didn't dive into the story to give you my final thoughts about it, but I wanted to mention this DLC on the video considering the fact that it's related to one of the most popular games of this year.
Sorry, Luis. It might be a while.
Stop wasting my time, Ada. Just get it done.
Gotta keep the client happy.
Another addition to your Asian horror game library is Seven Nights Ghost, which is a game that came out of nowhere, but is spooky enough to be included on the list. The game is set on a property that is scheduled to be demolished in 7 days, and you play as an employee who is transferred to the place for work before it gets demolished. However, the protagonist eventually discovers that the property is actually haunted by a ghost, and he needs to get the heck out of there. But the catch is that he must spend 7 nights in the property first and learn to live with the ghost without panicking. The ghost is not technically aggressive, but she can be malicious, and she may try to scare you at times and mess with your mind. But no matter what, you need to stay calm and understand how to contain her. You will also come across puzzles that you need to solve if you want to survive. But most importantly, always keep in mind that the ghost can be behind you and you need to sense her to avoid getting caught. It's really an enticing concept that's both challenging and scary at the same time, and you should only play it if you're confident that you have a strong heart that can resist the sudden appearances of this ghostly girl.
How many enemies would you face? How many battles would you endure? How many victories? How many failures? How many broken hearts? How many lies
Some of you probably expected that I was going to add this one to the list because I don't think we can deny that it's among the catchy releases of September and maybe even the year 2023 as a whole. The game is a dark, soul-like action RPG, inspired by the classic story of Pinocchio and set in the fallen city of Krat, where puppets have rebelled against humans and turned the city into a living hell. But the good news is that you'll take on the role of Pinocchio himself, a puppet mechanoid who awakens in Krat with no memory of how he got there, and he must fight his way through the city's hordes of enemies in order to find the puppet maker who created him so he can learn the truth about his past. Along the way, Pinocchio will discover that he has the ability to lie, which can be used to his advantage in certain situations. However, lying also comes with risks, and Pinocchio must choose carefully when to tell the truth and when to deceive, which means that you also need to use your real-life lying skills to help him out. This incredible mechanic makes the game more strategic and fun because your choices can sometimes result in outcomes that you didn't expect, and you don't even know when it's a good time to lie or when to say the truth. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I think what I said is enough to make you believe that this is an interesting, unique game despite its flaws. Now that we've talked about the 11 primary games, it's time to talk about some honorable mentions that deserve to be known in case you guys didn't notice their release. One of the interesting ones is obviously Deceit 2, which is the sequel to the popular co-op game Deceit, which allows you to choose between playing as a human trying to survive or a villain who wants to eliminate others. The game has received mixed reviews so far, but if you enjoy the concept of playing as the bad guy, then this game is definitely one of the perfect choices for you. Another game that caught a lot of attention recently is Granny Remake, which is basically a more creepy version of the intense original game, but with much more detailed graphics and a powerful atmosphere that immerses you even more in the chilling home. The Granny herself also looks even more terrifying here, which means that you need to avoid getting caught at any cost, otherwise you'll pay a high price. Anyway, hopefully today's list inspired you with some good suggestions for your wish list, but also make sure to remind me in the comments below of any titles that I might have missed. Until next time, stay safe and keep the horror going.